But with the celebrities, I tell you, they're like you have to literally pamper them. They have
Okay.
their own, yeah. They have like chota chota. They have very tantrums. They throw tantrums also. But some are really cool and pretty and very like down to earth. I have met Pankaj Tripathi. He's a super human being,
Okay.
like very down to, and he speaks exactly the way he speaks on the screen.
All right. Hi, and welcome to Grow Medico Podcast. My name is Saurabh, and today we have a really amazing guest who is treating foreign के patients in India. She is an amazing doctor और एक बहुत ही particular specialization के doctor है, and we majorly focus to get amazing experts on this Grow Medico Podcast. She also loves to travel. Please welcome Dr. Gunjan.
Hi, hi. All good. Majani life. How about you?
वी आर गुड, वी आर गुड. कैसा रहा? आप अभी रिसेंटली घूम के आए हैं, ऐसा हमने सुना है, खास सूत्रों से.
या हाँ, सूत्रों से पेपर में आया था क्या?
पेपर में तो आपके बाकी काम के आर्टिकल्स आते हैं, ये तो मतलब आपका काफी पर्सनल लाइफ है.
Yeah. No, so this was much needed break. I went to Leh Ladakh recently,
ओके.
just back. I'm still there, I think, mentally, physically, just trying to keep up with the pending work and everything. But I'm telling you, it's surreal. The trip
ओके.
was terrific. It was I won't say it was an impromptu thing. It was pretty much on the bucket list. Adventure I have been doing always. This was another adventure to the just to be ticked off, and it was really cool. It was a bike trip by
अरे बाप रे. नाइस.
Amazing.
a 10 days trip on the bike. It summed up to like 1400 plus kilometers, almost 7 hours a drive, 250 every day. And it's nature, it's beauty, and it's really like commendable job by the Border Road Organization to create such roads today, because I've heard people going to Leh Ladakh maybe a couple of years before, and they said that it's really very terrific. So it just happened to be there.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Lovely.
Mostly doctors needs all these kind of breaks क्योंकि इनकी लाइफ काफी हेक्टिक रहती है, कंटिन्यूसली काम रहता है, एंड डिपेंडिंग अपॉन डिफरेंट डिफरेंट स्पेशलाइजेशन अलग अलग किस्म के पेशेंट्स आते हैं. सो एज आई मेंशन, काफी एकदम स्पेसिफिक अलग अमेजिंग स्पेशलिटी है इनकी. शी इज इनटू हेमाटो-ऑन्कोलॉजिस्ट एंड शी इज बीन ट्रीटिंग फॉरेन के पेशेंट्स इन इंडिया, इन नागपुर टू बी मोर प्रिसाइज. लेकिन एज ये पॉडकास्ट मतलब सारे लोगों के लिए, डॉक्टर्स के लिए भी है एंड इवन पेशेंट्स के लिए भी है, सो प्लीज टेल अस एग्जैक्टली हेमाटो-ऑन्कोलॉजिस्ट क्या है, क्योंकि ये बहुत कम लोगों ने सुना है. जैसे रूमेटोलॉजिस्ट एक अलग रहता है, हेमाटो-ऑन्कोलॉजिस्ट एक अलग रहता है, एक मतलब बहुत कम सुनने को हमें मिलता है.
Yeah. So hemato-oncology, let me just break it into simpler version. Hemato is blood. Anything which is heme is blood. And oncology is cancer. I think oncology people are aware of, but hemat is a difficult term. So let me make it a simple statement as blood cancer specialist. But I also treat with something all blood related disorders which are not cancer as well. So whenever you are referred to a hemato-oncologist, just don't get scared that you have cancer already. It could be simple low hemoglobin, low platelets. If you have ever done your blood tests, like in a routine health checkup, the simplest test which you know of is the CBC, which is composed of hemoglobin, white cells, red cells, and platelets. So any ups and downs in any of these numbers going up down, then the patients are being referred to us.
So what it exactly takes to become a hemato-oncologist? If we see the journey like after MBBS, then what are the stages?
So it's like 14 saal ka vanvas, I must say. 14 saal is like 5 years of MBBS. Then you are into your specialization, which is your MD or DNP. After that, that's your post graduation. So graduation, post graduations, and then after that you do super speciality, which is hematology. So any doctor, if you've seen a physician who treats you with medicines, or a surgeon who does surgeries. So this is a step beyond it, which is hemato-oncology, which narrows the spectrum to anything and everything related to blood here. You must have heard about maybe a neurosurgeon or a urosurgeon. So that is only brain, or that is only your urinary bladder. So this is only blood. So people may think blood में इतना क्या ही हो सकता है, maximum क्या ही होगा. But I think when you come this side of the line, I can like elaborate an armamentarium of diseases related to blood.
Okay.
Let's start from the simple ones like dengue. Right now we are in the after corona world. You have
Mhm.
seen dengue patients right now. So all the dengue patients are referred to me with the low platelet counts.
Okay.
So that's not cancer, but still I treat them in terms of sometimes the platelets are not going up,
Mhm.
and or simple hemoglobins. Many of our females do have this complaints of anemia. Anemia is low hemoglobin.
Mhm.
So simple anemias are treated with dietary changes, but then sometimes your hemoglobin just doesn't go up. So you need to investigate, find the cause, and then treat.
Mhm.
Even sickle cell also. Sickle cell is under your specialization or what?
Correct, correct. So that's what I said. To start with, keeping it simple, the anemia could be simple iron deficiency, or a vegetarian could be deficient in vitamin B12. But also there are some hereditary or congenital, anuvanshik, जिसे कहते हैं हम.
Right.
So these are some disorders where you have defective blood, in which your hemoglobin never goes above 9, 8. It stays there, and the body is also, it gets acclimatized to that number. But that is something which is picked up most of the times when you are really a little kid. But if that disease is in a minor version, it can be picked up at age where we belong to, like maybe in the early teens or adolescents. And the sickle cell and thalassemias, we are the belt where actually you get maximum number of patients. And it runs in families. So even if I pick up one patient in one family, I need to screen the whole family for that disease because it's a hereditary disease.
Okay. But
Right.
we would like to ask you more about your particular specialization, Hemato-Oncology, क्योंकि मेजरली ऐसा होता है, मतलब जितना भी हम लोगों ने डॉक्टर से बात की है, इट इज अ लेगेसी ऑफ आर सीनियर डॉक्टर्स, मतलब अपने फैमिली में या फिर अपने और जो पहचान में जो डॉक्टर्स है उनका जो स्पेशलाइजेशन है, पीपल ट्राई टू टेक दैट, आई डोंट नो विद व्हाट पर्टिकुलर बेस, फिर वो वापस उनके लड़के उनकी लड़कियां भी वही स्पेशलाइजेशन में दे स्टार्ट प्रैक्टिसिंग. व्हाट मोटिवेटेड यू टू ऑप्ट फॉर हेमाटो-ऑन्कोलॉजी?
I think let me start with what motivated me to become a doctor first.
Okay.
Because I don't belong to any doctor family. I
Acha.
have all the black coats in the family. Everybody is a lawyer in my
Okay.
family. So I'm the one who there was a transition to a white coat. So for becoming a doctor, see, many being a doctor, it's a dream for millions. And there could be different reasons for different medical aspirants to be one. It could be treating or providing healthcare services to poor people, to rural areas. For some, it is the matter of pride when you get that label of a doctor. So, but I think, and also to be simply stating it, like to look at it as a very good opportunity in terms of economy and success. But for me, it was satisfaction. Satisfaction you comes to this realization when you actually go through this journey. Even during my Leh Ladakh trip, I said it's a journey which matters more than the destination. Similarly, while becoming a hemato-oncologist, this was a journey which made me realize that yes, I belong to this stream or this category. So when I was doing my MBBS or during my journey, it was the experience which summed up, or the satisfaction level. So it is something which is like beyond anything, beyond the pleasure of getting paid. Initially, actually, during our residencies, it's like night duties. Your stipend is literally minimal. मतलब petrol का भी खर्चा नहीं निकलेगा. So we actually start to earn really late. And I have a twin brother who is an engineer. So I could relate directly because we were growing together. Engineers start to earn maybe at the age of 22, 23. And we are
23-24.
struggling with the books. We are into books beyond 30, like 30 plus if you are into specialty.
Okay.
So that was so the motivation for me was the satisfaction, because when you are a doctor, you don't just save a single life. It is a life of the whole family. There are several lives involved in it. There are I have had patients or aji ajobas age
Mhm.
who like try to touch your feet because you have saved their son's life or
Oh
their
my God.
granddaughter's life, and you feel really very small when they do this, but they actually keep you like in the place of God. But
Mhm.
I would say that's that satisfaction when you go back home and sleep. It's really like unparalleled. So I think satisfaction kept me motivated. After my post graduation, my parents were happy. Chalo bhaiya, beti doctor ban gayi aur kya chahiye. But I started into practice.
Mhm.
But somewhere I lacked. I thought there is a lack in the like. I need to have something different. Why just like practice like a doctor? Everybody is doing it. Why? What's the difference? I need to have that edge. So I started giving exams, fellowships, entrances. Never was a plan to become a hemato-oncology, but when I went into the stream, it was really very challenging. And I am actually a person, kind of person, since I'm an adventurer also. This also gives me that adrenaline
Adrenal
rush or
rush.
Mm.
goosebumps while treating the patients, because every patient has a fascinating story.
Mhm.
And every person, you cannot just theoretically अच्छा ठीक है एक 1 + 1 = 2 नहीं कर सकते. So
Mhm.
you
Right.
cannot just whatever you have read theoretically and you cannot implement it. So every day is different. So but still when I look at my engineer friends or anybody, I feel their life is so sorted and really interesting, but I feel for me not every day is the same.
Do you feel that doctors have very busy life? Like when their colleagues, not exactly colleagues, when their friends are basically parting, they don't have time. They are into treating patients. Do you feel that?
uh, yes, there is a huge amount of difference in the lifestyle which we lead and which they lead. But I would say it is a very personal choice. See, must have met doctors who are maybe dermatologist or a dentist or
Hmm.
ophthalmologist who don't have emergencies. So not every doctor has that emergency or he has to be there unless you are into surgeries. Like
Mhm.
you get a call and you have to rush for the surgery. So not every doctor is like that, but mota moti as a general concept, yes, there is a difference between a doctor and because I have to be on my phone. My phone cannot be switched off.
Hmm.
So I have to be on the phone at least to give any primary instructions to be given to the doctor straight there in the hospital who is looking after the patient. But still, I would say if you have like you have to make choice in your life.
Mhm.
Even being a doctor, if you decide ठीक है, now I'm going to take a break. I took a 10 days break to go to Leh Ladakh. That you have to find a break because I am surrounded by cancer patients and I have seen that you have to live in the moment. You don't know how your tomorrow is going to be. So
Hmm.
that realization again, it's a teaching process. My every patient teaches me something or the other. So they have
Mhm.
made me realize that live in the moment, live in the present. पैसा भी अगर कमाना है तो आज है कल नहीं है. So
Mhm.
just be there, live it because you never know. Even to my patients, when have to make them realize कि cancer है boss आपको. So actually, I have a certain way of telling them or tell them how it is and how you have to accept it.
Mhm.
But that by you say na, you have to preach what you are actually
Practice what you preach, yeah.
practice what you preach. So
Right.
वैसे ही है. So I have tried to inculcate that into my life and just find time out for myself.
Most of the corporates people basically are into the that rat race of 9 to 5 jobs, and they are literally pissed off with this thing. Now I want to know exactly what is the job timings or the practice timings for doctors.
So I have worked in two different setups. I was in Nair Hospital, Bombay, which is a BMC. It's a government setup, and the and Kokilaben Hospital, which is a proper corporate celebrity hospital.
Yeah, you've been
So
treating a lot of celebrities also.
yeah. Actually, I can actually enlist them, and
Yeah.
people feel so great about. My family used to feel very great. अरे अरे आज तो इससे मिली, अरे वाह तो आज इससे मिली.
Okay.
But with the celebrities, I tell you, they like you have to literally pamper them. They have
Okay.
their own yeah. They have like chota chota. They have very tantrums. They throw tantrums also. But some are really cool and pretty and very like down to earth. I have met Pankaj Tripathi. He's a super human being,
Okay.
like very down to, and he speaks exactly the way he speaks on the screen.
Amazing.
So he's, and I have treated Kiran Kher. Kiran Kher was
Yeah.
she has now publicized that she has had myeloma, multiple myeloma, which is a
Mhm.
blood cancer. So I still remember her calling me in the night. We used to speak for an hour and so, because she was, any patient would be to
Mhm.
take its her own time to come. So it was a different world there, back there in Kokinagar. And so back to the question. So yes, we have lifestyle. So in my residency, when I was a student, we have had night calls where we used to work in the night. So full 9 to 5 job. Let me compare it with any engineer. So proper job. Then you are still on call in the night. You may get calls, or you have to stay back in the ward. Any
Mhm.
emergency you have to tackle. Your seniors are always there on a phone call, and the next day you don't get a leave because you have done a night before.
Hmm.
You still have to work the next whole day.
Oh, okay.
So that is how it works. So my night calls used to be every alternate day, but I
Right.
think that was a part of life, and we just got used to it. And I still remember my brother. He used to, like, your exams are like, engineers are like 7 days के बाद,
Uh,
एक हफ्ते का gap, and we never used to get time to breathe during my exams papers. मतलब mom used to call just wish me all the best. I was like, हाँ जल्दी जल्दी बोलो रख. And my brother used to go to the gym on the day of exam as well. And look at the difference. My God. And
oh
jobs wise
man.
also, they are happy after 5. I don't think any of the engineers phones ever ring.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
unless obviously the job profile matters,
Mhm.
but still there is a difference between a doctor and an engineer, and that's the reason everybody says the doctor should marry a doctor, because they can understand each other.
हाँ, ऐसा तो बहुत
Hmm.
सुना है.
Right. Right.
And I don't know, you can even pass this question, or you can even explain, as you quoted that you have married a CA, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I have married a chartered accountant because I didn't want to go back home and talk about susu and potty of the patients. Because most of the doctors, they, they are like discussing patients when they're back home as well, is what
Uh-huh.
I feel.
Hmm.
Like, with all due respect of all, for all the couples, doctor couples, but I wanted to like maybe enlighten myself with more knowledge, because I am literally pathetic in finance. So my
Mhm.
finances are sorted because it's sorted. I am pathetic technically, so I have an engineer brother by my side. So I'm happy that way, and I feel it's good. We respect each other's profession. I ask him what he has been doing all this while, and I don't understand anything.
कुछ तो नया
But
मिलता है,
still,
आप कुछ
Right.
बताते हो, उनको नहीं समझता है, तो हैप्पी, मजा नहीं लाइफ.
So, what are your dinner talks be like? Is it like managing your finance?
no. To be very honest, the first year of filing your taxes, obviously it was handled by family's chartered accountant. But then after my marriage, the first year he asked me for the whole data, कि क्रेडिट कार्ड का डेटा ला के दे मुझे, इसका क्या. मैं बोली, मेरे आज तक कोई सीए ने मुझे कोई डेटा नहीं मांगा. इतना मुझे बोलने वाला होगा तो मुझे नहीं चाहिए ऐसा. But yeah, at least I got to know how it is filed, because he asked me to literally. But I said, he, when you ask me for medicines, I don't give you or ask you so many medicine कि ये मेरा 4 options है, बोलो तुमको क्या चाहिए. I straight give you the medicine. So it should be so sorted. Don't try to explain each and everything. But ठीक है, we are good that way.
टॉकिंग अबाउट स्टोरीज, जो कि आप बोल ही रहे थे कि एवरी पेशेंट हैज अ पर्टिकुलर स्टोरी. सो one story which we have been reading it on newspapers, and you have been talking it on different television channel also, regarding a foreign patient getting treated in India, and that too in Nagpur. And that's a basically bone marrow transplant, to be very precise and very unique. Tell us more about it.
So it's a huge topic actually. I think this time limit of our podcast will just not be enough to explain the whole of transfers. But I will try to just uh, give you a brief about what it is. So any blood cancer. So blood cancer, blood is in our body everywhere, but the blood factory is our bone marrow.
Mhm.
So it lies in our bones. So that's the bone marrow which becomes defective, and that is how you develop a blood cancer. You just simply state it. Now, when you have a defective, like defective bone marrow, you obviously need a good factor to get the best yield. Like if you have a bad kidney, you get your kidneys transplanted. If you have these days we have heart transplants, lung transplants. So similarly, we have a bone marrow transplant, wherein if you have a defective bone marrow, we give you a fresh, good bone marrow, which will give you good which will give you the same normal blood which you had before, which is cancer free. So this is a simple bone marrow transplant. What exactly it is. Now, it is applicable to different conditions. We also, apart from blood cancers, we also do it for thalassemias and sickle cell anemias because it's a lifelong disease which the person has to live with. So to cure them or to give them a life out of thalassemias and sickle cell like free, so we do bone marrow transplant. So this patient was from Botswana, which is a country in Africa, continent Africa. He happened to look for expertise doing bone marrow transplant because he was a multiple myeloma patient, which is a type of blood cancer. And he was looking for a expertise which he was lacking in his country. So he got to know from somewhere that people go to India to get this done. He was in talks with multiple doctors, some from Bombay, some from Hyderabad, and one from Nagpur.
Okay.
So I don't know how he decided to come down to Nagpur. That I think the question should be directed to the patient. But we had a couple of talks in the month of August, June, July, for a couple of months, 2 months or so. Patient happened to land here in the month of August. We generally do a pre-transplant workup to see if the patient is fit for the transplant. So we did that. We transplanted him. Generally, a transplant happens over a month. The patient is literally kept in a jail, like an isolation room. Because in this case, we give him chemotherapy, which is an anti-cancer treatment, which actually sloshes away your bone marrow so as to create a space for a new bone marrow to come. So when you give such heavy chemotherapy, the patient's counts go so low that he is literally like a newborn child with zero immunity. So he can actually pick up any smallest of the infections from the environment or from bugs from the intestine or from anywhere. So that's the reason we have to isolate him from any other patients. Even we used to go inside with all the gears, like the way you used to go to see corona patients. So in case of corona, we have to actually prevent ourselves from getting infected. But here in this case, we have to prevent the patient from getting infected from us because we are roaming about it. So this is a 1 month long treatment. So the patient was kept in a bone marrow transplant unit alone without any relative. He was obviously having a laptop, TV, doing his normal life, and we were treating him. We were doing our job. And patient happened to recover in a month, in hardly 12 days, and flew back home. And even now we are in talks with him. So the special case or the interesting part about this patient was that he had one more cancer before this, which was a oral cancer. So he had an oral cancer for which he had chemotherapy, he had a surgery. So half of his face was so it was back, I think 7-10 years ago. He came out of that cancer, he survived that cancer, then he landed up with this blood cancer. So the second cancer in one lifetime, and he also sorted it out, or he fought it out like a war. So I still tell him, and mind you that he was 68 years old.
Wow.
So that was another challenging fact because even for a bone marrow transplant, that was a challenge. Old age, previous chemotherapy, previous cancer, but he really did very well and the journey was really smooth for him. So that was a challenging and interesting case. And I never thought I could ever do a transplant on an international patient sitting back in Nagpur. I have done in Kokilabel, Mumbai, but it really made me happy doing it here in Nagpur. To the audience also, I would say that we have a transplant facility here in India, which was not here in India maybe 10-15 years back. We never had it in Nagpur, but now we have it in Nagpur. And the best part about it is because it's a 1 month long process, if anybody chooses to do it in a different city, obviously you have to make arrangements for the relatives to stay there. And if you have it in your own city, then it becomes an extra privilege that you have it in the city. So it's good that we are developing as some healthcare in Nagpur.
Right. So what are the causes behind blood cancer or any other cancer? So
So, see, every patient who comes turns out to be a cancer patient. He happens to ask me this question, and I actually have to be very honest, there is no data on this that why it's happening. I personally feel it was happening before as well, but there were no modalities to pick them up. So maybe patients used to die with the cancer और बोलते थे कि अरे नींद नहीं चल बसे, अरे heart attack ही होगा. But underlying there could be cancer. The additional part today, which I would want to add up to is that the lifestyle, the 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 things, the anything which we are consuming, may it be junk food. I would not just say junk food, but even the healthy mirchi and masala which we are having at home, even the vegetables which are coming, fruits which are coming at home. Today we don't know because most of them are grown with fertilizers. Cows and buffaloes are given hormones and injections to get the best yield products, may it be milk or eggs. So we cannot blame just one thing. But I think over the years, it's just piling up in our systems. And that is how the cancers are coming up these days. And obviously the expertise and the modalities and treatment and investigations which we have, so the cancers are picking up more these days.
So is it also because of the use of steroids in particular treatment, or maybe some kind of accidents? So overuse of it for the long intervals, it can also cause cancer.
Not just, I won't say that only steroids do it. Steroids make a person immunocompromised, and that too, it happens when you take it over a long period of time. A chutkusa dose for some actual reason, like some patients have asthma and they take steroids. That's a very common, and for bodybuilding, guys take, many of us take steroids. So that is really not good. For cosmetic reasons if you are taking steroids over a long period of time. But yes, when you actually need it, when you have an ailment which needs steroids, you have to take. Local application of steroid is a different thing, but in our cancer patients, the treatment is steroids.
Okay.
So you cannot, we have a cocktail of drugs, we have a combination, like there is a combination of maybe two drugs, and most of them have a steroid as a component. So I don't use the steroids to it. But yes, we have a data where it says that if you have had cancer before, you have had chemotherapies and radiotherapies before, then your chances of getting secondary cancers increases. Even if you know of Hiroshima, Nagasaki, there was this nuclear bombing. There is data that time there were lots of cancers coming because of that radiations which happened.
Okay.
So even the pesticides, the chemicals which is used in the farming. So when a farmer comes to me, I happen to actually ask them the history of are you using fertilizers and pesticides, because he is the most exposed. Even a X-ray technician, the person who does the X-ray, he is also exposed on a daily basis. So it's a chronic exposure of anything. Anything which you overdo may cause problems eventually in your life. It could be anything. It could be even dieting. I have had so many patients who kept crying that how can I get cancer? I have been doing the best to me. I have been dieting. I just started dieting. I have seen, I don't know, there is no data, but I have realized that people have started to diet and they have developed cancers in couple of months. तो
So
ये तो
strange.
लॉजिक मुझे भी अभी तक नहीं पता चला है क्यों और कैसे. But yeah, so to cut short, I feel there are two hits. Two hits मतलब एक hit है जो भगवान ने दिया हुआ है. There is a genetic makeup how we are born with like the height, the color, the hair, and there is another second. So first hit you cannot help it. God has given it to you. And second hit is your own thing, your lifestyle, your the way you live your life, what you eat, what you breathe, everything that decides the second hit. So if these two hits come together, the probability of cancers coming to you increases. So at least you have the second hit in your hands, where you can decide if you can delay the progress, or if at all there is a chance that you may develop a cancer, you can delay it.
There's a lot of discussions going around. Just after the series, you might know about it, the series called Game Changers. There's a series on Netflix, basically. Not a series, it's a documentary. So in that Game Changers, they are telling about the benefits of being a vegan. So they are talking about the vegan lifestyle, and just they are just saying that after adopting this vegan lifestyle, even people can just reverse the reverse cancers and many harming threatening life
Yeah.
threatening diseases also. So is it true or is it just a myth?
Yeah. So vegan lifestyle, and I would add on to this intermittent fasting. So
Hmm.
there are two things which have come up recently, and many of us are following.
Mhm.
Even I am doing it. I am trying to do it because it's a difficult thing to be a vegan. I am a hardcore non-vegetarian, but it's a very difficult thing. But I would say, being a vegan, mostly the dietary products or any white thing made be, let's say, from sugar to milk to sabudana, it's white, to salt, anything which is white is actually causing serious health problems. But then, how do we do that? So you replace sugar with jaggery, you replace salt with pink salt or the rock salt. So there are so many things which you can do it. So I think for our generation specifically, because see, our dadis who are now saying 80 plus, they have covered most of their lives in a better environment, pollution
Hmm.
free, healthy organic food. We have been exposed to junks and non-healthy things since the age of maybe 15 or 20. The new generation which is coming up, they are being exposed to it since the time they are born.
Mhm.
So obviously, the if you calculate the duration of the exposure, it is quite high. It's increasing day by day. So how do you decrease it? By obviously the way he questioned, just choose the best of all the options you have. It may be vegan, being a vegan, be doing some intermittent fasting stuff, not dieting. It's not dieting. So the concept behind it is not to lose weight, but to just don't fuel our body with lots of carbohydrates or junk. Or I would not just say junk, even at home. If you don't have junk, but even if at home you are eating oily stuff, तला हुआ समोसा, हाँ मैंने तो घर
Mhm.
पे बना के खाया, that's a better option. But if you can just chuck out the oils and sugars, obviously that's a better lifestyle change.
Hmm.
So I think see, even fasting for that matter, normal fasting जो पहले के जमाने में होते थे जिसमें फ्रूट्स खाया करते थे लोग
Mhm.
कि एकादशी and whatever.
Mhm.
So जो fasting होता था, that actually is a good. Your system needs a break. But
Mhm.
fasting को लोगों ने conveniently ऐसे चेंज कर दिया है कि उसमें लोग वो साबूदाना के बड़े
साबूदानी
और
साबूदाना खा रहे हैं.
सो आई एंड फिर ठीक है, पहले के जमाने में लोगों ने उसको भगवान का नाम देके उस डर से लोग उसको करते थे. But I think look into yourself, treat yourself as Bhagwan and do it for yourself, not for Bhagwan. It's not for Bhagwan, but do it in a proper way. Make it
Mhm.
actually a fruit diet for one day. Your system needs a break, but that doesn't mean you have to stuff yourself with something which is an alternative, which is again unhealthy. So yes, being a vegan, following some sort of diet, but whatever diet you are following, you have to follow. You have to fix a diet which is consistent, which you can follow it consistently.
Hmm.
And obviously डाइटिंग के साथ एक नेगेटिव पार्ट आ जाता है कि यू मिस ऑन टू द ट्रेस मिनरल्स क्योंकि तुम कम खाते हो. सो उसमें आप जो छोटी छोटी चीजें होती है, जिंक, मैग्नीशियम, फॉस्फोरस, पोटेशियम, वो सब कम हो जाता है बिकॉज उसमें आप नहीं, मैं तो सिर्फ दाल ही खाऊंगी रोज या मैं तो सिर्फ फ्रूट्स ही खाऊंगी. सो योर मैं इसको संतुलित आहार बोलती हूँ. इट शुड बी अ प्रॉपर हेल्दी डाइट, इट शुड हैव प्रपोर्शन ऑफ ईच एंड एवरीथिंग. नेवर ओवरडू एनीथिंग कि मैं रोज चिकन ही खा रही हूँ या रोज अंडे ही खा रही हूँ. Anything in excess is bad. It's the bottom line.
Now, as winter is here and people are into making lot of what hemoglobin laddu or different kind of laddu to get मतलब अच्छी सेहत बनाने के लिए सर्दियों का मौसम, people treat in that manner and people make this particular kind of laddu to boost up their hemoglobin. आप बताइए, इज इट ट्रू कि कुछ चीजें ऐसे खाने से इट कैन एक्चुअली इन वी कैन एक्चुअली इंक्रीज आवर हीमोग्लोबिन, और all these are just myths, or we need to have a different lifestyle so that it is on a balanced count, right?
Correct. So मैं अपने ancestors को full marks दूंगी इसके लिए कि whatever they have come up with, the ideas they have come up with, वो जो लड्डू जो रखते बनते, वो क्या बोलते हैं उसको, मराठी में हम लोग बोलते हैं डिंकाचे लाडू और मेवा लड्डू. So that is composed of lots of dry fruits and khajur. Khajur is a good iron-rich food. So normally, if you are asked by your mother to have khajur on a daily basis, you will never have. So this was the idea of getting those laddus done in the winters and whenever. So I won't say it is not a good habit to have those laddus. Laddus are really, those are really, जैसे बोलते हैं उसको, छोटा पैकेट बट
बड़ा
lots of
धमाका.
major constituents, yeah, बड़ा धमाका. बट मेरे पास जो पेशेंट्स आते हैं जिनका हीमोग्लोबिन, वो ऐसे भी बोलते हैं मैंने सब कर लिया, मैं हरी सब्जियां खाती हूँ, मैं सारा आयरन रिच, बिकॉज यू हैव गूगल एट योर हैंड टू लुक फॉर एनीथिंग. अगर किसी ने बोल दिया हीमोग्लोबिन आयरन रिच फूड से बढ़ता है, जो कि सच है, और मैं खा रही हूँ बट स्टिल मेरा हीमोग्लोबिन नहीं बढ़ रहा, then yes, you need to seek help. You need to go to a doctor, look for a cause which could be more than just dietary insufficiencies. तो उसमें जैसे हमने बोला था शुरुआत में कि अगर आपको प्रॉब्लम डिफेक्टिव ब्लड है, आप कितना भी खा लो, या कहीं से ब्लीडिंग हो रहा है, वो जैसे बोलते हैं, मैं हमेशा बोलती हूँ, अगर पानी भरा हुआ जा रहा है, आप कितना भी पानी भरो, ऊपर से नल खुला है, नहीं होने वाला. So if you are trying your everything and still your hemoglobin is not going up, please seek help. It can be some other reason. There are so many other causes to have a low hemoglobin, but get it sorted. I would say for any common people कि बाल जो झड़ते हैं, हमारे बाल झड़ना, हमारे नींद डिस्टर्ब होना, that can be also related to anemia, low hemoglobin, which never you do it. You just हम लोग तेल लगाएंगे, हम लोग नहीं, नींद क्यों नहीं हो रही. It could be simple anemia. Just treat it and you are solved. Irritation, चिड़चिड़ापन, ये सारी चीजें भी रिलेटेड हो सकती है लोगों की. एंड आई वुड रिकमेंड, इफ यू डोंट हैव टू सी अ डॉक्टर, तो वो टाइम तक आपको पहुंचना नहीं है, तो ट्राई टू इनकलकेट गुड हेल्दी हैबिट्स, यानी पूरा 8 hours sleep, drink plenty of water, good healthy food. Most of them, obviously there has to be cheat days, even I have my own cheat days, but if you 6 दिन अगर आपने अच्छा खाया, तो 7वें दिन आपने खा भी दिया, तो चलो माफ करता है सब लोग, भगवान भी माफ कर देता है. बट मैं यही बोलूंगी कि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम स्ट्रेस फ्री रहना बोल सकते हैं हम लोग, बट नहीं होता है. मे इट बी एनी प्रोफेशन, फॉर अ हाउसवाइफ आल्सो स्ट्रेस फ्री रहना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. बट ट्राई टू, maybe you can choose to meditate, choose an activity, may it be a sport, may it be going to the gym, which relaxes you down. There has to be a moment, an hour of recreation on a daily basis, so as to just formulate or discipline your life in a.
My next question is ki, do you really believe in miracles? Because the reason that we are asking this question is because you are a doctor and you are treating a lot of patients who are actually dealing with cancer, and किसी को भी कैंसर हो जाना is like a really big, मतलब अलग किस्म की बड़ी नेगेटिव न्यूज हो जाती है, and it is one of the deadliest diseases. So do you see some miracles happening with your patients when you treat them and when they, they fight cancer?
There are miracles. I have, because I had to think for a while, because I have lots of stories. Actually, I can write a book out of cancer survivors or cancer patients, because miracles. Let me just first answer your question. I have had a patient 85 in 80s plus. He was a bada producer. He was everybody knows this producer. His father. Okay. So his father had a cancer. He was undergoing chemotherapy in the age of 80 plus. He used to religiously come on the date of his chemo cycle, get it done. Obviously, he had helps. His son used to call if he was into shoots or somewhere or other. But he was religiously doing it, following each and every smallest advice given by the doctor. Then came COVID. He happened to get infected with COVID during his chemotherapy. Now just imagine somebody who's 80 plus, somebody with, at the age of 80 plus, he had diabetes, he had hypertension, everything. और आपने सुना होगा न्यूज में आता था मधुमेह वाले लोग, ऐसे लोग बच के रहे, एस्थमा है तो बच के रहे, कोविड could be dreadful for you. Now just imagine this patient 80 plus with so many comorbidities, health issues, on top of it a cancer, undergoing a chemotherapy. मतलब chemotherapy मतलब आपकी immunity भी थोड़ी low हो जाती है, cancer patient हो रही है तो फिर से immunocompromised and you get a COVID. Now this patient goes into that COVID ward, जो COVID patients जहाँ रखे रहते थे. The whole family was like, boss, this is, मतलब पता नहीं वापस आएंगे नहीं आएंगे कैसे होगा क्या होगा. But this man, he came out of COVID and he took the remaining cycles of chemotherapy and he's still alive, doing all his. He used to play tennis 80 plus,
Wow.
and he's still doing. So this, even we as a doctors, COVID was new for everybody. So we as doctors, even we had lost hopes that he's going to make it, but he did it. So this, I don't know if this was a miracle or was that COVID a minor variant for him, but it was a really difficult time for us and for him as a family, for everybody.
What is the exact mindset of all these patients, because they know that they are having this deadly disease which can actually take their life? They don't know how long they'll survive, what is the window. So what mindset do all these patients go through, and how do you actually help them to be in a mindset where they are positive and they know कि treatment हो रही है, I will be fine, right?
Yeah. So first thing, when I have to, for the first time they get diagnosed with blood cancer, that is the most difficult time, because breaking the ice or telling them that yes, you have blood cancer, because initially when we are investigating, we still say पता नहीं, हो भी सकता है नहीं भी हो सकता है, we are still investigating. But eventually when the final results come out that yes, this patient is a cancer patient, and telling them, the first thing is denial. They just don't accept the fact that they are a cancer patient. The time they take to sing, वो रहता है ना, कैसे बोलते हैं, पैरों तले जमीन खिसक जाना वाली feeling. Actually, that is the feeling, and I can, even if I put them into their shoes, it's the same feeling you get. May it be for yourself or any of your loved ones and the family members. The first time we have to tell them it's a difficult process. So I try to look at the psychology, whether the patient can take it by herself or himself, or if we need to involve the family first and then धीरे धीरे उनको बता. But obviously that patient, that person is going to take the treatment. So he needs to know. He needs to know what he's going to do. So first thing is denial. Second is once they start to sink in, well, exam आ गया अभी देना तो है, so when they start to sink in, that time also they come up with hell lot of questions. मतलब सब कभी कभी हम लोग ऐसे लगता है कि बॉस ये क्या लेवल पे सोच रहा है. They go into a different frame of introspection कि अभी मेरी लाइफ का क्या होगा, अगर if he is an old age तो वो will के बारे में सोचने लग जाता है. If somebody is a young child, वो उनके आगे की लाइफ के बारे में सोचने लग जाते हैं कि इसका आगे शादी कैसा, कोई 12th में है, इसका एग्जाम कैसे, लाइफ पूरा सॉर्ट नहीं हो रहा है, मतलब इट्स अ डिफरेंट मेंटल गेम. सो फिर उनको धीरे धीरे सिंक इन करना होता है. फिर बट आई टेल यू, दे बिकम इवन स्ट्रॉन्गर मेंटली once they are going through the drill. और उसमें हमारा काम actually on a daily basis we need to work on that, because every patient the day is different every day. Like आज उनको बुखार आएगा, कल वो मेडिकली कंप्लीटली फिट रहेंगे, इतना फिट कि दे आर लाइक कि आई डोंट फील लाइक आई एम अ कैंसर पेशेंट, इतना नॉर्मल लगता है. देयर आर फेजेस. फिर हम लोग जब कीमो देते हैं, सो देयर इज अ कीमो हैज अ सर्टेन सेट ऑफ साइड इफेक्ट्स. तो वी ट्राई टू प्राइम देम कि डरना मत, थोड़ा सा वॉमिटिंग हो सकता है, थोड़ा सा साइड इफेक्ट्स हो सकते हैं, बट वी हैव मेडिसिन फॉर इट. सो उसमें से तो वो लोग निकल जाते हैं. बट फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट्स आते हैं, फैमिली सपोर्ट सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है. बिकॉज अगर एक भी फैमिली मेंबर को कैंसर ट्रीटमेंट के लिए अगर लाना है, तो उसके पीछे अगर उसका बच्चा भी है जो वर्किंग है, उसको कॉलेज में ऑफिस में छुट्टी डाल के आना होता है. दे हैव टू एस्कॉर्ट देम. सो उसके बाद उसके साइड इफेक्ट जब होते हैं, तो घर पे किसी को रहना इम्पोर्टेंट है. कभी बेटे के चले जाते हैं बहुओं के साथ, तो घर पे कोई रहता है. तो देयर इज अ वेरी, आई कांट जस्ट स्टेट हाउ डिफरेंट परम्यूटेशंस कॉम्बिनेशंस आई हैव, but it's a very difficult story. So we are the main driving force, but we have our sidekicks. We have counselors in the house who need to counsel them on a daily basis. I still remember when I was with Nair, we had a big chunk of patients with thalassemia, which were small kids. So small kids, they also need the boosting. So there are certain organizations, they used to come in, they used to gift them, they used to ask them कि तुम्हें तुम्हारे birthday पे क्या चाहिए, and they literally, even if the patient asks a laptop, they used to give them a laptop. So that was all funded. But when you see a smile on their face, that gives you a very good like surreal feeling. but it's a difficult phase for them. But we create a bond with these patients because they are associated with us over a long period of time, over
Mhm.
months, because chemotherapy always runs in cycles and sessions. So we create a bond. So cancer patients, I think they are best fighters. I think, and we also have groups where one cancer patient talk to the other one, क्योंकि
Mhm.
ये अपनी एग्जाम दे चुका है और ये अभी एग्जाम देने वाला है, and that comforts them a lot.
Right.
Right.
लाइफस्टाइल चेंजेस से क्या कैंसर ट्रीट हो सकता है? मतलब इफ समवन हैज डेवलप्ड गुड लाइफस्टाइल चेंज जो कि पहले वो नहीं कर रहा था या कर रही थी, एंड नाउ आफ्टर कंसल्टिंग और नाउ आफ्टर गेटिंग द ट्रीटमेंट लाइफस्टाइल चेंजेस लाए, क्या चीजें बेहतर हो सकती है?
Yeah.
फॉर अ नॉर्मल पब्लिक के लिए बोल रही हूँ मैं कि इफ यू हैव अ स्ट्रॉन्ग फैमिली हिस्ट्री, मतलब फैमिली में फूफा को, दादा को, किसी को कैंसर है, so the probability or propensity of getting a cancer in the family is relatively higher than a normal family who has no cancer in the family. जैसे अपना डायबिटीज और हाइपरटेंशन होता है.
Mhm.
So similarly, if you have that in your family, that gives you even more reason to make the lifestyle changes the earlier. The earlier you do it, the better it is. Abhi, what are these lifestyle changes? Lifestyle changes are literally simple. Simple in the way some activity every day. It could be anything. You have to burn what you are eating. If you are fueling yourself with more calories, burn them, or else don't fuel them. Fuel your body. Don't fuel your body with calories. तो डाइट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. प्रॉपर खाना खाओ, हेल्दी खाना खाओ और उसको बर्न करो. These days we are a little late. We have this laid back. I don't know if it's an attitude or a job profile that we have to most of the time sitting in front of the screens. ऐसा कुछ है. अगर आपका लाइफस्टाइल थोड़ा सिडेंटरी है, so that gives you even more reason that you should do some activity every day, minimum 1 hour.
Mhm.
गुड फूड मतलब उसमें ऑब्वियसली जैसे मैंने पहले भी बोला, हेल्दी फूड इज घर का पका हुआ शुद्ध फ्रेश खाना. स्टेन नहीं खाना है, तेल कम खाना है, शक्कर कम खाना है. सिंपल सिंपल चेंजेस. एंड इट शुड बी अ बैलेंस्ड डाइट. सब कुछ होना चाहिए. ऐसे नहीं कि ड्राई फ्रूट्स ही खा रहे हो रोज या कुछ एक्सेस रखे. And obviously good amount of sleep, and hydrate yourself as much as possible, and try to relax and calm down yourself. Swim. कोई स्विमिंग करके करता है, कोई सो के करता है, कोई एक्सरसाइज करके उसको अच्छा लगता है, कोई डांस करता है. So you have to choose your way. There is no right or wrong thing for anything. Just this is a bottom line which you can follow and just try to make the best out of the life which is given by God, one life.
Perfect. Any particular myths that you always hear when a patient come to you about cancer and that you want to burst it today on this podcast?
For any cancer patient, the main myths come about with the treatment, which is chemotherapy. So chemotherapy patients generally focus more on the side effects. I would say they should more be focusing on the effects, because today in the medical era we have done such a huge amount of development that today we have actually a platter of medicines available. कि अच्छा कोई ओल्ड है, कोई नहीं झेल पाएगा ट्रीटमेंट, तो वी हैव अ lesser intensive options of treatment as well. So please focus on the effects than the side effects. If there are any side effects, we can treat you with certain medicines which can curtail those side effects. Secondly, they have a very big myth about hair loss. हेयर
Mhm.
लॉस होता है, बाल चले जाएंगे मुझे कैंसर है तो, बट
Mhm.
जो ये हेयर लॉस है वो वापस भी आता है वंस यू आर ऑफ योर ट्रीटमेंट. थर्ड, कि क्या मैं आयुर्वेदिक, होम्योपैथी या ऑल्टरनेटिव मेडिसिन से अपना कैंसर ठीक कर सकता हूँ? So I actually cannot comment, but from the amount of patients I have treated, from my experience, I would say there are these are a little heavier version of diseases
Mhm.
which is really difficult to handle. So please don't mess around with it. Let it go through the proper way of investigating and treating. उसके बीच में अगर मिक्सिंग और कॉकटेल करोगे तो डिजीज थोड़ा अजीब, वो भी अजीब बिहेव करने लगता है. एंड अबाउट अ बोन मैरो प्रोसीजर, बोन मैरो ट्रांसप्लांट जिसके बारे में हमने बात की, दैट्स अ ट्रीटमेंट. बोन मैरो प्रोसीजर अगर जो भी पेशेंट्स मेरे से रिलेट कर पाएंगे जिनके घर में किसी का हुआ है या क्या. बट जब कोई डॉक्टर बोलता है आपको कि अरे आपके ना खून में गड़बड़ है, आपको बोन मैरो प्रोसीजर लगेगा, तो वो सुन के ही पेशेंट्स गूगल करते हैं और बोलते हैं मुझे बोन मैरो बोल दिया मतलब मुझे कैंसर है, या मुझे हिमेटो ऑन्कोलॉजिस्ट के पास भेज रहे हैं मतलब मुझे कैंसर है. ऐसा नहीं होता है. जब आपको अगर बोन मैरो प्रोसीजर बोल रहे हैं, ये सिर्फ ऐसी प्रोसीजर है कि हमारी ब्लड में कुछ गड़बड़ है, तो सिर्फ बोन मैरो जो हमारी फैक्ट्री है वहां जाके देखना है कि फैक्ट्री में क्या गड़बड़ है. सो बोन मैरो प्रोसीजर इज नॉट द एंड ऑफ लाइफ. प्रोसीजर सिंपल 10-15 मिनट का होता है. इट इज अ लोकल एनेस्थीसिया, अंडर लोकल एनेस्थीसिया. मतलब इसमें आपको बेहोश या ऑपरेशन थिएटर में नहीं लेके जाते. मेरे पेशेंट्स चल के आते हैं, प्रोसीजर करते हैं और चल के दे ट्रैवल बैक टू देयर डिफरेंट सिटीज.
ओके.
सो इट्स जस्ट अ सिंपल प्रोसीजर. बट उसके बारे में इतने लोगों में वहम है कि बोन मैरो बहुत दर्द देता है, बहुत पेनफुल होता है. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. सो अगर किसी को बोन मैरो प्रोसीजर एडवाइस भी किया है, सो प्लीज गेट इट डन एंड गेट इट सॉर्टेड, बिकॉज द अर्लियर वी पिक अप एनीथिंग, द अर्लियर वी कैन ट्रीट यू एंड सेव.
एक और मिथ होता है लाइक मतलब किसी को एक बार कैंसर हो गया एंड देन उसकी ट्रीटमेंट हो गई है, तो एक और मिथ होता है कि मतलब बहुत सारे लोग सोचते हैं कि उसको वापस कैंसर आ जाएगा एंड मतलब एक बार कैंसर हो गया मतलब उसकी लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी जो है वो कम हो गई है. सो इज इट ट्रू?
सो एक बार कैंसर हो गया तो कैंसर कम्स विद अनफॉर्चुनेटली विद द वर्ड रिलैप्स. सो एनी कैंसर कम्स विद अ रिलैप्स. बट कैंसर में भी इतनी सारी कैंसर्स है. मतलब आई डोंट नो इफ आई शुड बी, बट देयर इज ल्यूकीमिया, लिम्फोमा, माइलोमा. इसमें भी एक एक्यूट और क्रॉनिक दो टाइप्स रहते हैं. एक्यूट मतलब जो कुछ दिनों में या कुछ महीनों में पिकअप होता है, एंड क्रॉनिक इज समथिंग विच गोज ऑन फॉर इयर्स एंड इयर्स. मतलब वो पिकअप भी नहीं होता है, वो ऐसे ही, मतलब पेशेंट को कुछ सिम्टम्स भी नहीं आते हैं, वो ऐसे ही हेल्थ चेकअप में या इंसिडेंटली वी जस्ट फाइंड आउट दैट ही इज हैविंग दैट क्रॉनिक ल्यूकीमिया. So, yes, patients who have got treatment with leukemia, I can quote a handful of patients who are doing really well after treatment. मतलब आज वो cancer free है. But also I have a handful of patients who have relapsed. The relapse can happen in the month of like in a matter of 6 months or maybe 9 years, 10 years down the line. ये relapse कभी भी हो सकता है. It all depends on the disease biology, how your disease is, how aggressive your cancer is. सो कैंसर और कीमोथेरेपी का ये जो बैलेंस है ना, ये ऐसा है कि कैंसर अपना, जैसे कोविड, कोविड ने अपने स्ट्रेन्स बदले, हमने अलग अलग वैक्सीन लाए, वो अपना ट्राई कर रहा है टू सर्वाइव. वी आर ट्राइंग टू सर्वाइव विद द वैक्सीन. सिमिलरली कैंसर ऑल्सो वो अपने रूप बदलता है. वी ट्राई टू गिव कीमोथेरेपी, ट्राई टू उसको होल्ड करके रखो, बट कैंसर फैलने वाली चीज. तो अगर आपकी कीमोथेरेपी को उसको जड़ से उखाड़ दिया, देन यू आर फ्री ऑफ कैंसर. मुझे ऐसे छोटे बच्चे याद है मेरे जो 10th स्टैंडर्ड 12th स्टैंडर्ड के, और आज भी अभी फोन कर रहे हैं, बट उनको कभी कुछ रिलैक्स नहीं आया. कुछ लोग तो अपने कॉलेजेस में जाके दे आर लीडिंग अ कैंपेन, दे हैव बिकम अ पॉलिटिशियन. तो ऐसे भी लोग हैं मेरे सामने जो एकदम नॉर्मल लाइफ जी रहे हैं, उनको भूल गए वो उनको कैंसर भी था. So relapse, yes, it comes with the word of relapse. Cancers always come with that. But I would also want to quote here that we have certain cancers which can be treated just with a pill. एक छोटा सा गोली खाना होता है घर पे बैठ के. You don't have to get hospitalized. कोई एडमिशन नहीं, कोई प्रोसीजर नहीं, कुछ नहीं, कुछ नहीं. You can do your foreign tour, सब कर सकते हो, and you have a cancer, but you are leading your normal life. ऐसे भी मतलब today I can talk of it. ये पहले नहीं था ये सब अवेलेबल. बट वही है कि इसीलिए आप कैंसर वर्ड से डर के डॉक्टर्स से भागने से बेटर है कि आप जाओ, पता करो कौन सा है, क्या है. मे बी दैट यू आर द लकी वन और द चोजन वन, यू गेट द बेस्ट ऑफ द वर्स्ट.
एज नाउअडेज हर किसी का स्क्रीन टाइम बढ़ चुका है. पीपल कंज्यूम अ लॉट ऑफ कंटेंट ऑन इंटरनेट. हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इट इज टू यूज सोशल मीडिया एज अ डॉक्टर ऑल्सो? मतलब आपको भी सोशल मीडिया प्रेजेंस कितना रखना चाहिए, कैसे क्या रखना चाहिए, कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है आपके हिसाब से? व्हाट डू यू फील?
सो आई डोंट नो, आई एम लकी इनफ और नॉट. आई वुड से कि मैं पोस्ट कोविड आई स्टार्टेड माय प्रैक्टिस मेनली. meanwhile I was studying. So post COVID, I think people are more into social media because लोग सब घर बैठे हुए थे, and people got used to Instagram and podcasts and everything, because that was the only channel to connect to people when it was the pandemic. So I don't remember before COVID if doctors used to use so much of this social media platform. But since the time I am here, I have been using social media right, left, and center. I have been doing Facebook Lives, Reels, uh, everything. And the basic agenda on using this platform is to create awareness. Create
Mhm.
awareness because अभी जैसे आज हम भी बात कर रहे हैं तो हमें हिमेटो ऑन्कोलॉजी के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता था. आज at the end of this podcast, I have tried my best to at least make you and the audiences aware of what it is, what my world is like, what the hematology world sounds like. So, so create awareness because most of the times it's the lack of knowledge and lack of awareness of what it is. उसी के वजह से पेशेंट या नॉर्मल पर्सन धक्के खाते रहता है, उसको समझेगा ही नहीं, पेट में दर्द है वो एक डॉक्टर के पास जाएगा, so they happen to just visit doctors and land nowhere. So if you are a little aware, you may eventually probably help yourself and guide others also that where exactly you need to land. So coming back to social media, so this was the only thing which was left for me, which is podcast, which I happened to do it with you too. And I think Grow Medicos is something which I was really fascinated about when I got to hear this for the first time. I never thought that, yes, because I am very used to hearing to podcasts, and most of the times I get, मतलब वो mythology हो या कुछ भी हो, but it really enlightens you in a way because if I am all the full day I am occupied with my patients, reports, उसी में रहते हैं. So when I have to step out of my world and go to the real world, back to the world, थोड़ा सा politics, थोड़ा सा ये वो, तो podcasts are really a good channel and platform to be aware of. But never thought that yes, doctors can also use make the best use of this. And with this podcast, with this new thing which is coming up, Grow Medico, I'm glad that I am amongst the first couple of doctors who is getting the opportunity to use this platform. But even one more thing I wanted to ask you, sort of, that how
Yeah.
was your this? Uh, how do you feel while switching from? I heard that you were an RJ before,
Yeah.
so from the voice to the face, how is this transition like? How does that make you feel?
The transition is really great. Basically, my partner in crime, Vishal, he was the producer and I was the
Okay.
jock. So we both used to do a show, morning number one, at a radio station called Red FM. So initially we had some healthcare clients, so we started working with them, and we started working with them. We actually consulted them to grow their practice, to get them more amount of patients, because doctors have a huge knowledge regarding whatever specialization and whatever expertise they are in, but ultimately at a particular time or a particular sector, they lack to market it. They lack to actually attract all these patients, and it takes a lot of time to actually उस डॉक्टर को उस particular locality में अपना नाम बनाने के लिए. They have to do so many things, and they are more into their own technical knowledge. उनको उतना marketing का नहीं रहता है. So we actually help them. We gave them their desired results. Then ultimately we also got some adrenal rush. So we thought ki let's just start helping all these doctors, because this is a major thing which a lot of doctors are particularly facing nowadays. And yeah, we were into radio since 7 years, so podcast and all these stuff is a little more in our blood, हमारे भी खून में है. So we thought ki let's just make a platform where we connect with a lot of healthcare experts, and we talk about all these particular problems, myths, their expertise, because you see on internet there is a lot of baseless information which a lot of people are sharing unknowingly, because it seems like कि वो authenticated information है, या फिर वो सही info है क्योंकि वो इसने इसने share किया है, या फिर ये particular medium पे आई है, या इन्होंने upload किया है. So what if, and number two is doctors don't have that much time कि वो ये सारी चीजें करके upload करे, because they are more into treating patient and growing their own practice. So we thought कि let's make things more easy for all the doctors. let's create a platform जहाँ पे doctors आए, doctors tell all these myths वगैरह सारे burst करें, and of course that will help other fellow doctors and also other people who are actually looking for that kind of information. So this is how it completely started, and this is how it is going.
It should, and I give my blessings to you guys and to this
Thank you so
podcast.
much.
To this podcast. Probably, maybe I am amongst those struggling doctors, correct, as you mentioned, because struggle in the way because first of all, people are not aware of my field at all. It's a new thing
Mhm,
in our fraternity, in our Nagpur mainly.
mhm,
So that way, people are not aware. And patients will never land up to me directly saying कि अरे मुझे ना खून का problem है. It will always they will always go to a general physician or somebody like that. But maybe platforms like these where I am can directly connect with the audience and directly speak about what hematology is like, or any doctor for that matter, if that is so, that creates a different bond. And when I happen to talk about my field, it actually gives me immense pleasure also when telling about what my experiences are and
mhm.
how we deal into our this thing, our fraternity. So good that I chose this platform, and happy to connect with people directly.